Shalom, Salama, Siemi, Shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world. Whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you are a Gentile grafted in to the house under the blood of Yahusha HaMashiach. I like to come up on in here and kind of give a update. Yeah, I'm starting a little late. Give you all some time to come up on in here. So, I'm waking up this morning and I'm really right in the midst of everything that's going on. And so right now, as I'm waking up, Hurricane Ian is now a Category 4. Category 4 hurricane. So that's something. And especially being here in Florida with the Category 4, all I gotta say is, family, pray for me. Pray for me and my family. Yes, thank you, Yakin Bell. Yes, I'm gonna need some prayers. So, um, no, but yeah, it's interesting because really on the whole state is really getting a lot of rain. It's getting flooded. So I spoke to my dad and my cousin down in Southeast Florida, there in Broward County, and a lot of uh, a lot of rain coming down from in that direction. Yeah, yeah. Now, yeah, my brother is up there in the Portland, Vancouver, Washington area. Yeah, and so my mom is in Gainesville. And I have family up in Ocala, and so on this West Coast. Yeah, in Sarasota. Yeah, one of my building bridges uh, members. She's in Sarasota, so if you can have prayers for her because and her family, because we're spread on out. A lot of our believing members are spread out. So with Florida, this state, I'm gonna tell you, this state wasn't really seeing a lot of judgment per se, you know. So and I wasn't happy to anticipate judgment because look, that's going to affect you too, right? But yeah, I saw that Cuba has a blackout. The whole system went down, family. So, but I wanted to tell y'all something. I was never a believer in that HARP mess, right? Oh, the HARP is just going to steer these hurricanes away, and we are engineering these storms. I'm like, okay. So you want to say that, but this is the heart of what they love. Like Florida is their like crown jewel, you know, for this place. And so, especially here on the west side and in Tampa, I'm telling you, I've never seen so many folks from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Virginia, Maryland. That is like really all the folks that are coming down here. And so just kind of seeing how everything has grown. I'm not panicking, but you could tell the folks that really haven't been here for a while, that hasn't gone through any type of tropical storms and things of that nature. Now, albeit, yeah, this is going to be a very strong storm, and it intensified into a category 4. So that's really nothing to play around with. Those are very, very strong winds. Right now, I'm just getting a lot of rain, and yeah, the wind is just starting to pick up. So, so yeah, so t- just trying to check in on family. Checking in with my kids. It's it's uh it's something. It is something. But I really want to kind of get this on out here because, to be quite honest, I'm depending on how bad things are. I may not be on for a while, and I say a while. I would say probably like, if it's a week or so. Because I really don't know how bad things are. And so I want to kind of put this into perspective because of where this thing is making landfall, supposedly, um, and the area that it's making landfall in. Because this area has experienced tremendous population growth. And so I got here to Tampa late 2007, about September timeframe. And by the grace of the Most High, I was able to stay here um, at that time. And so, or from that time, doing a lot of things on active duty orders, and then even being able to retire or be in a retiring status from out of the military. So it's been a great time that the Most High has allowed me to be sustained. Because when I first got here with my family, I said, "Oh man, how am I going to afford this place and these places?" And I've been able to thrive here. So the Most High had allowed me to thrive. And so the last hurricane was back in 2007. Excuse me, not 2007. 2017. There was Irma, but by the time she kind of came up into the Tampa area, she had kind of lost her steam. It was like a pretty good tropical storm. And so, but I had evacuated there, especially with my family. Um, but now, this is a different circumstance, different dynamics that's at play. So I decided to just stay, wait this thing on out, and uh, and go from there. Oh yeah, no, they ain't leaving Thursday. Yeah, if your brother and sister in law on vacation here, they're not gonna leave Thursday. I think most of the airports in this area are shut down. I think because the whole state of Florida is going to be having tropical storm force winds. So yeah, no, I got my supplies. I got my water. I got my things that I need. The only thing I don't have that's different to what I had in 2017 is that I didn't have my Crown Royal and Coke. I didn't have my Seagrams and ginger ale. because I stopped drinking in 2020 when I realized, no, we're in judgment. We're in judgment. So I said, no, I'm going to keep my head on my shoulders in a very sober manner, right? When you are at war, you got to stay sober. That's what I said to myself. Doesn't mean that I'm gonna say, look, I won't touch a drink again. No, 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 no. You just can't have a drink behind enemy lines because that's when the foolishness will come out, and these folks won't waste any opportunity to take your life. So, a wine is a mocker, right? But I believe in the wine gardens and the vineyards. So don't even say that. I'll just say, look, my circumstance was different. I ain't trying to be up here. You know how my mouth is anyway. So imagine that with some drinks up in me. Oh no, no, no. There have been some encounters that Brother Karras would not have made it in these times. In these times. So yeah, but that's the whole thing. I've never had the substance, the challenges because it was just this. I realized what people were drinking for, and they're drinking for just trying to like put their feelings and emotions away. And I never was like that. I always said, "Look, Father, you're the one that's in control. You're the one that judges, and you're the one that takes away." So I've always understood that. Now, would I have a beer? Yeah, I'd have a beer. But I haven't had any alcohol touch my lips since February of 2020. And I realized that I said, no, I can't do that in this time here because it's just going to get worse. It is, and so I've stuck to that, and when people are saying you want to drink, you want this, you want that, I tell them no. They never ask. They're probably thinking that I'm like an AA, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I'm like, no, and I never got to that point where I was just like drunk all the time and things of that nature. No, I would have like one or two beers, and that was usually like on a Friday or Saturday night, but that was before like honoring, the Shabbat, actually honoring the Shabbat, actually understanding who I am because you have to realize that you're going to go through a lot of not just physical but spiritual um confrontations. Yeah, 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 Windwalker, my aunt actually lives in Palm Bay, Melbourne. So yeah, they're all getting it too. They're all getting it too, and they're saying that it's gonna exit Florida out of the Atlantic. So it's gonna go across state. It's gonna go across state. And so, yeah, if that's the case, yeah, their worst case scenario is this goes up into Disney World. That's their worst case scenario, like a category, uh, well, one or two up in Disney World. Oh man, not the Magical Kingdom, but I was just wondering that too. I said if Disney World like blows on over, how many people would see that and contribute that to? Look, see, that was judgment. They wanted to promote that stuff. And we all know what that stuff is. They wanted to promote that agenda. Yeah, they wanted to promote them lifestyles, and we all know what them lifestyles are. And there it is. And honestly speaking, you had more of that um, where this place is about to hit. I said, "Why is it forecasted?" I said, "Oh yeah, yeah." They set their whole communities up like that. They literally do. They set their whole communities up like that, especially here in Florida. So when I saw that, I said, "Wow, I get it now. I understand." Oh yeah, oh yeah. Because to be quite honest, I was literally in Sarasota last April. No, this April. No, it wasn't last April. It was this April. And so, I get my little bit of intelligence and knowledge. It's from white folks. They'll tell me, "Hey, this they do this down there. They do." Oh, okay. Well, thanks for letting me know. So I don't go. you know. All right. That lets me know not to get gas at that particular area of Sarasota. Ooh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, and so, you have those, they literally are set up here, and that's where I'm not going to get don't get me wrong, those are it's a nice area. Those are nice beaches. They have a beach called Lido Beach, really nice beach. I've been there a couple times, but you always have to remember there are things that we may not know, but the Most High knows, right? We always think that judgment doesn't come, but it always comes. And, you know, if you hadn't noticed and you haven't heard, okay, and I'll leave this up for um, definitely Minister Yakoba. I don't know what type of screenshots and things he's gonna have up for these prophetic updates and things of that nature. But and it was interesting. This was interesting because the preppers with Paul and Adrian. Someone has shared that video on the Teo Ministries group page on Facebook, and when the Nord Stream, both pipelines, one and two, had blown up, that is hugely significant, family. And I'm going to tell you this, it's hugely significant because it's going to cause a rift in the sentiment of Europe. And I don't think people truly understood those three elements, those three nations that we see mentioned in Jeremiah 50 and 51. And so I wasn't really going to go heavy in the scripture today just because I was just going to say Isaiah 26, Isaiah 26 and 20, get up into your room and shut it when these judgments come. So we're here and these judgments are happening. Hallelujah. But oh yeah, I'm trying to find that scripture, family. I know what scripture it is. It is in Jeremiah chapter 50, and I remember that scripture to be exact. Yeah, because I was doing a quick skim. Well, it does mention those nations. We have Ashkenaz, we have Ararat, and then you also have many. And those have been shown to be basically Europe, Russia, those Russian nations, Central Asian nations, and many or Sinam, those East Asian nations. So that's the spirit of Medes that's there, that's coming through, that's happening. Yeah, Jeremiah 51 and 27. And it says, set up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Mini, and Ashkenaz. Call together against her the kingdoms. So, Germany is actually included in that kingdom as Ashkenaz. Germany is literally Ashkenaz. That so when I saw that pipeline, I'm like, wow. Yeah, I did see that the interview post. I hadn't looked at that yet. I wanted to take a look, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. What's even more interesting is now these countries are trying to secure their oil and everything else because listen, it's going to start getting cold there in Europe. As hot as it was this summer, just imagine how cold it's going to be this winter. And they don't have enough gas. Now they really don't have enough gas because now that got sabotaged. So you tell me. So this is the thing that's happening, right now. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. There's a lot. There's some black folks there in Sarasota. Yeah, yeah. There's some black folks that are there, and so yeah, we're keeping everyone up in prayer, keeping all the Israelites there up in prayer. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Ninja Firewolf. Yeah, it's already cold. You weren't gonna have a quick. You weren't gonna have a transitionary summer. It was gonna go from hot to cold. And imagine if you're seeing snow late October. That's not going to be very fun. That's not going to be very fun to see snow late October. And I remember that. I remember when I was living in the Midwest, and one year it had snowed. It was like October 20 something, like 25th or 26th. And I'm like, wow, it snowed that early, because I wasn't there. Because usually I think, snow is usually late November, right? Early December, around Thanksgiving. And so, I could tolerate the snow from about late November, December, but October, because once that snow hits the ground, things don't get better till like April. So that's just 6 months. Yeah, see 51 degrees? Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's gonna start getting real, real cold. Yep, and you're right, Yakinu Bell. They're using their reserves right now. And guess what? They're gonna run out of their reserves. Just think about that. They're gonna run out of their reserves. That's 60 days. And see, the whole craziness is, believe it or not, why would Russia blow up their own pipeline? That makes no sense. Because here's the thing, don't you think that would give them some negotiating power to keep their pipeline? Hey, if you want this oil flowing, if you want this gas, this LNG flowing, but to be quite honest, that's something that's very, very cruel and heartless, because that is not an act of war on governments. That's an act of war on people, even the most vulnerable people. That's terrible. And to be quite honest, that is an international crime, because that's infrastructure. That's oil infrastructure. And those that didn't know, and when they get found out and when they get caught, see, you have to understand, when people get found out, when nations get found out and when nations get caught, do you understand they don't actually like go and try to, this isn't Hollywood. And I think people get very convoluted, the reality of how politics works. It's not Hollywood. Well, we're gonna go on up there, we're gonna sit up in the UN, and we're gonna make all these accusations. Ha ha, here's a smoking gun. Why would anybody put themselves in that position to do that? So what? They can die off? Absolutely not. Because I'm gonna tell you, excuse me, I'm gonna tell you what's happening right now. Someone probably sent an official communication over to the Russians, and they said, "We ain't playing this game." And I'm going to tell you that those someones is probably France and Germany, Denmark, Poland, all those places that relied on those pipelines, or was trying to negotiate. If you think about this, why would something get blown up unless there was an active negotiation coming through? Because remember, if there's an active negotiation, then what does that do? That undermines everything in Ukraine. Let's just put on our thinking caps today. Why would they do that? And if you realize that when there was a speech that was done by this president, and the reporter asked the question, Yes, it's making Europe suffer because Europe isn't all in with what America's doing. Bingo. So if you are there, just think about this. Where would your targets now be? Would your targets be anywhere in Europe? Just think about that. They won't have to be in Europe because you want to know why? Europe is now they're trying to run crazy doing what they need to do to survive this winter, to look for oil this winter. Europe is basically done. And Russia has no leverage or nor negotiating power. So that's done. So basically, everybody is suffering. That is your mutual destruction. And the mutual destruction is at a cost that both those nations and those people that those nations represent are all in trouble. But that's Jeremiah 51 and 27. Call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Mini, and Ashkenaz. So if that happened there, my best guess is that something's going to happen in Taiwan. Because if you didn't understand, a kingdom that is dying is against the ropes, and it always has to lash out. A kingdom that's being destroyed always has to lash out. That's just how it goes. If you're an animal, if you're a beast, when beasts are dying, they even tell you this, hunting 101, approach the animal slowly because the animal will lash out, and when they lash out, they could potentially fatally injure you. But see, the problem is, look, when you've condoned humanitarian crimes for centuries, when you've condoned terrorism for decades, when you've condoned wickedness for generations, then what do you think was going to happen? And I laugh at that because I'm like, huh, well, guess what? They finally got their wake up call. Because remember, the same thing would happen to our communities. And if we didn't participate or acquiesce or whatever they felt like doing to lash out against us, then things would burn down. So what that's trying to do is that it literally is in the process of trying to cause a destabilizing element. Well, guess what? Now we're just going to destabilize all of Europe. They weren't really feeling us to invade Ukraine. They weren't feeling us to back Nazis and Nazism. Well, guess what? Now they're all going to suffer. I told you this is how this thing was going to go. But the thing was going to always be miscalculated, just like this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Europe doesn't play when it comes to those winters. You're right, Lion Pride. Europe does not play when it comes to those winters, and those winters can be deadly. Those winters will be deadly. Yeah, Sister Chantel Smith. Yep, that pipeline. Yeah, England's going to probably get it the worst too, just because they're sitting on an island, and it's starting to get frosty there. Oh my goodness, she's going to be doing the 21st century remake of Oliver there. That's what them folks are going to be going through. Nothing but gloomy skies, dark, gloomy skies. Oh man, I feel bad for the Europeans. But here's the thing. No, could we see an EU civil war? No. Remember, that's all Ashkenaz. They're all in it for themselves. And remember, that was literally an attack on the infrastructure. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? That was an attack on their infrastructure. So what they do, you have to understand, their responses are more coy, right? They're more of a plotting and have a much more mechanism of plotting than what we see. You don't have the. It's one of those. If you're sitting on the fence, and that's what the EU was doing. They're sitting on the fence. They wanted to have, well, we want to have this thing jump off. We want to set this thing off. Yeah. And you got to remember, if they're there and they're trying to suck up all the resources for those troops that's stationed there, there's going to be problems. See, I don't think you all truly understand the impacts of this. It's not the governments that's going to do the, the going to have the initial reaction. Do you understand? It's going to be the local people, the local civilians that will be doing the fighting. This is the weirdest thing because, people tend to think, well, we're not going to do this, we're not going to. And then when you see it happening, because here's the thing, do you not think that all the folks there in Europe are talking about the same thing? Absolutely. Do you not think that those French, that those Germans, do you not think that those Spanish and Italians are thinking about the same thing? Do you not think that the Swiss are thinking about the same thing? Because why? Because everything funnels off of each other. From Liechtenstein to those other smaller countries, Belgium, the Netherlands, those smaller countries, they have to get a pipeline. So yeah, fam, this is really this thing is bigger than what people had expected. And see, if we're talking about this, they're talking about this. Now, then think about that. If there are some nukes released to here, well, think about the response. See, the U.S. is saying, "Well, we're gonna rely on that nuclear response coming from the European Union or those European Union countries." What happens when they don't do the work that the U.S. is expecting? Because if you actually didn't understand this, those hypersonic missiles can be used as anti missiles and anti missile systems, meaning they can be intercepted and they can intercept any type of long range intercontinental ballistic missiles. So the best success would be to launch from your European allies. But if that launch doesn't come from the European allies, then guess what? That's why the word says, look, those arrows are going to come through and none returneth. Can we all start to see the setup here? Because that just didn't affect Europe, it affected Russia too. So now the case is there's a case that now Russia can say, look, we were trying to negotiate in good faith for this oil and getting this pipeline done, and now this is what's happened. I don't know about you all, but I guarantee you, watching the next 2 weeks, how the sentiment changes there in Europe. Watching the next 2 weeks. It's not going to be, oh, they're going to declare war like that. When does that ever happen? Never. They're not going to declare war all of a sudden, they're going, no, that never happens. But you watch the next 2 or 3 weeks. You watch when those politicians start to speak up and say something over there. That's when you start to really get a gauge on what's going on. When you start to hear their leaders and everything else saying, look, this isn't right, you know, I'm not, because you want to know why? I'm going to tell you this. The Daily Mail already tried to run an article about the frogmen or the Russian frogmen or whatever craziness. But if you think and you really understand that, why would they blow up their own pipeline that they had as a negotiating chip? It just makes no sense. But it's convenient that that article was published. That's just psychological operations. It's information operations. Yeah, it sounds outlandish, but you got to publish it anyway. Because why? Because you got to remember, and oh my goodness, shout out to Minister Yakovo, and he had put something on out there in terms of your DNA. Your DNA will actually allow you to understand how people analyze and process things. And like I had said earlier, it's a beast mentality. It's a pack system. I don't care what people want to say in terms of how people's DNA may have been tainted. I don't care what people want to say in terms of, what nine strands, six strands. I don't care about any of that. Here's the pragmatic solution to this. It is a pack mentality. That's how they've always operated, in packs. We do not operate in packs like that because we try to do what? Everybody tries to analyze the situation on their own. We have movies about that. You literally have civil rights movies about that. You literally have all of these things that go on. That's how it works. I don't need to understand things. I just need the pack to listen, and then that activates them. Because why? Because if your spiritual nature is a beast nature in spirit, you're going to operate as an animal within your spirit, which is why they always have problems with us because we don't do that. Hey, don't think about the orders that you're given. You just do the orders and you carry out the orders, and that's it. Black people have a hard time carrying out orders in the military because you want to know why? Because we think about it. Why does this really doesn't make sense? Well, don't worry about it. It comes from the higher ups. We don't have that beast mentality. We really don't. We question everything, and then we always say, "Is that a good idea?" Well, why do you think it's not a good idea? And I've had this happen to me quite a few times. And I said, because this. And they never think about the consequences. So many times in my military career. Well, let me ask, let me find out. Are we sure we want to do that? Because this, and this will cause this is the oh, I never thought about that. Let me before I put this order on out, let's take a look. Sometimes those orders don't even go through. They get rescinded. Sorry, that order got rescinded. Yeah, stand by. Yeah, we've always been the voice of reason. And I guarantee you, there was nobody there that gave any type of reason to, you may not want to do that. Oh, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Okay. This is why they say there's a recruiting problem. No, there's not a recruiting problem. It's this it's more black people are saying, I'm not trying to be up in a system that is designed strictly for the intent to promote worldwide white supremacy. That's like being a Cobra agent fighting against GI Joes, and they get recruited thinking that they're helping the GI Joes, and really they get their little implant and they become Cobra. Oh man, it's too late. I thought I was a good guy. Yeah, they're like, oh, we're having problems with this. Why? Because you know to know what we're saying. Get into IT and learn how to code. And what's happening? Our people are getting into IT and they're coding and whatever that 55, 60,000 a year. that they make within 2 or 3 years in the military, they're making about 75, 80, even while they're still in school. Yeah, because we always question why. That's our nature. Our nature is to question. They hate that that's our nature. But see, when we question, see, our nature is actually a good thing, but they call it a bad thing because remember, if you don't even question your religion as a standard to what standard it holds, then how do you question everything else? How do you relate to everything else? And the reality is you really can't. You do we get what's going on right here? If you don't have a standard in terms of being able to operate in life, that's the word, right? That's why it says kings and priests. Because why? It's a standard. It's a standard. Who can be the standard barrier? Well, that standard barrier has always been us. But now that we had been removed from that position, I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in this. I don't believe in that. Well, why not? Because the simple thing is that standard has been so broken and so devoid of what the word actually says. Everybody's around here doing their own thing, wickedness and lawlessness. That's all wrapped up into one. Hey, you probably shouldn't have cut off the pipeline. That's probably wickedness to the highest form. Oh, don't worry about it. Well, the question is, would you want that to be done to us? Oh, are we them? That's but that's the whole thing. Look, it's like the standard of man, right? But remember, when they always think that they're better than everybody, which is what has gone on, that's the greatest deception ever. Because when they're brought low, those tabernacles of Teman, when those tabernacles of Teman are brought low, this is Obadiah, this is Joel chapter 3, because why? They set up this case for themselves, which is what the word says. And all we're doing is saying, look, we're seeing this prophecy being fulfilled because we see how you all are reacting. And we're not the ones causing it. The bad thing is, they're causing it. Like this, I'm not afraid of the hurricane coming through and blowing some things down. My main concern is the aftermath of it because their reaction is always, always, always a whole lot worse than the actual storm. And if you hadn't noticed, their can't get it right mentality that's been hampering them these last couple of years during their time of judgment, it's causing them to flail. So you're telling me we've had supply chain issues for the last 2 years? Okay. It's not supply chain issues. It's that they have always been, since literally 2020, they have been in an economic war with China. But remember, they called that supply chain. This is judgment, but with the weather. But they call that climate change. So this is something that they know they're falling off the cliff because we're testifying to what this word says. So whether or not you believe in the Exodus or you believe, that we're going back into the lands promised to our forefathers, whether or not you believe it, you have to understand this judgment is about to take place here, definitely in the United States. And if it takes place here in the United States, then guess what? All those connected to that system, that's even more detrimental. What happens when everything that you have is wrapped up in this system? Your mind, your soul, your body, everything. This is literally how kingdoms collapse. And we're seeing this kingdom collapsing because they're the ones collapsing it. When you lash out like that, and I'm going to say purportedly, suspectedly, well, guess what? These nations are going to set a target too. Maybe they're the ones that's causing all this. Maybe they're the ones that's bringing this, they'll say, bad luck. Ninja Firewolf, you did say that. When we stop mammying them, oh yeah, look at what happened. A generation of us not mammying them, look at what happened. Yeah, yeah, Yakin and Bell. That'll change the climate. That, that will change the mood real quick. Especially you can't get no gas. Wait a second. I can't even get to the pump. My gas has to be rationed. You have a gas ration card. Yeah, it's all that until, well, it's just bad luck. Scientifically, it's bad luck. They love their science. That is their God. That is literally their God. Their science is their God. Yeah, gas ration based off social credit score system. That means no black people won't be getting any gas in that one. We might as well just get used to riding bikes. They mess with us with just a regular credit score now. Social credit score? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Let me guess. The worse your score is, you're gonna be ending up in some sort of a corrective facility. We're not calling it jail anymore. We're just calling it a corrective facility. It kind of looks like a jail, but this time we took off the razor Constantine wire because, we're trying to correct your behavior to help increase your social credit score. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, family. It was raining. I think a band had kind of gone away. It's still a little breezy, but nothing too crazy. I think I have about another like 5 more hours, and it starts to really get into that tropical storm. Uh, where it's just gonna be constant breezes. And then, yeah, I'm in the path of the hurricane when it makes landfall. Pray for your brother. Oh, we can rebuild you based off your social credit. Oh, that's great. Problem is, every black person has a social credit score of 100. When you really need about a social credit score of 750 to really do anything. What? That's just by default. Like, they're gonna really change the system. The Experian, the Equifax, and all them and TransUnion, all those folks use, they're gonna really change out the system. And they've already been exposed that that's what they do to us. It don't matter what your credit rating is. It doesn't matter how well your payments are. You're always gonna get dinged because you're gonna be black. They literally had studies on this. They literally admitted to this. And now all of a sudden, come on now. The better your social credit score, the more income you can have. Okay. It's like, dang, they really do think that we're just dummies. That's the saddest thing. That's the saddest reality we have here. They really think that we're just some sort of a mongrel class that just all we can do is just have our jaws on the floor, collecting garbage, just slithering by. It's crazy. And it's like, okay, I'm glad you introduced this now because everybody can see that this thing is not going to work because you probably won't be around in 2 years. See, all that stuff was cool when you did that in the Middle East. You get what I'm saying? There's a difference when you try to do that in like Middle Eastern countries, but when you do that to European countries, you're doing that to other white folks. Y'all done forgot. That is the cause of World War III right there. When you try to do that to other white folks, these folks will say, "All right." They don't just sit there and take it. These folks literally, Germany and France and them, they literally had a conference call like, "Yo, hey yo, Putin, hey yo yo yo," they're so mad. They're like, "Hey yo 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 yo, you see what happened? Nah, man, I'm done. I'm done. Yo, what we gonna do?" Putin's on the call like, I told y'all about Ukraine. Y'all don't want to listen. I told y'all, and y'all were trying to do it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I didn't know they were gonna blow up the pipeline. Putin steady looking at him like, "You serious?" And now you asking for my help because the tables are done turned. Now all of a sudden, Putin walking around this little conference table, looking like Martin, swinging his arms like, "I done told you." Y'all weren't trying to hear it, and you played yourself. Give a fool enough time, and they'll expose themselves. But we're not here just like, well, we never saw that coming. Man, we were saying this. Taylor said, "You want to know what? I was listening to um, Israel and the end time captivity. This was something these brothers done made 6 years ago. 6 years ago. It popped up in the news feed. I think somebody posted that. I re-listened to it. Not one thing did they say not happen or it's happening now. I'm going to tell you this. At least 70% of what they talked about is happened or it's already happened. That's crazy. And now when we see that and we're saying, look, now there's more detail behind it, but it's still playing out exactly how the scriptures had stated. It's still playing out how all the scriptures had portended it to be. Because why? Because the Most High, our Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our Elohim of Israel, he does not send out his word for it to be void. It always does what it is sent to accomplish. And things are being accomplished. Things are being done. Things are breaking out. So yeah, don't family. I'm gonna tell you, don't worry about me. I'll be back on eventually. I was like, I wonder if I should go out in the storm and be like Woody Harrelson, like the Woody Harrelson character in 2012. Oh, this is gonna be the big one. We've been waiting for it to erupt. You won't see my behind on out there. Oh, this is gonna be the big storm. This is the storm. This is it. We've been waiting for these wind speeds. I'm out there with some goggles. Oh, no. And just some goggles, a poncho liner, and an umbrella. Cause you know, I'm in Florida with some flip flops. I'm your Hebrew correspondent, Kara Scopen, reporting from the scene. We have wind gusts here of about 12 miles an hour, and they're steadily approaching. As you can see on the live radar, I bring up my little cardboard box and then have like a picture. This is the storm. Put my little colored pencil on there. This is me in relation to the storm. Yeah, it's that close. All we can say is hunker down and may the Most High be with you. Reporting live. Get popped in the head by a branch. Oh man. If those squirrels have sense enough to just hunker their behinds down, you know that's what I'm gonna do too. But you know these folks are gonna be on out here. We're in a hurricane, yeah. Oh man. Yeah, fam. I just wanted to give y'all a little update. Ended up talking about some topics, but that's the storm that's really brewing. That's the storm that I'm more concerned with. Yeah, no, no, Chantel. These folks will be on up here, and they literally get messed up. These things can up and have glass and all this other stuff. Yeah, no, when on the Weather Channel earlier this week it was on Saturday. It was literally on Saturday. I was watching this, and then I said, "Oh man, Jim Cantori is on Clearwater Beach." I said, "We're going to get hit for real." And if you didn't know, that's the white dude from the Weather Channel. And I said, "Yep, there's going to be a couple people dying." People, excuse me. People laugh about that, but that's like you realize that this dude is when this dude shows up, at a bare minimum, there's like at least 100 people that's dying. Oh, it's gonna hit the Tampa Bay area, and we're here, we're looking at things. They're acting like they're doing a service of like, oh, we're inspecting everything, and you're doing this and you're doing that. And while he's there getting blasted in the storm, there are people that are dying. Trees getting falling on homes, falling on cars, falling on people. Yeah, I said when I saw him show up, I said, yeah, they're about to cancel everything. And then lo and behold, they literally canceled everything. I got get those public service calls. Then you get the alerts on the excuse me on the iPhone. I got the alert. You are in an emergency situation. You have 36 hours to hunker down or evacuate. I said, yeah, when Jim Cantori showed up, it's a wrap. I said, this thing's gonna start looking like Walking Dead around here. Just bodies just piled up in the rivers that used to be streets. I said, oh Lord. Yeah, but if I have my Hurricane Katrina moment, well, all I know is I'll try to find a kayak or a boat floating somewhere and go from there. Because I don't think y'all understand how many snakes and alligators are gonna be on out here. Oh no, yeah, they did the little thing on all the cell phones. Yeah, it was an emergency. Yeah, state of emergency declared. But the whole time, and they're like, "Oh, it's gonna go to the Panhandle. It's gonna probably go to the Panhandle." I'm like, "Nah, it's gonna get here." They just didn't want to get people all panicked and you know going all crazy, and because these people down here, they'll shoot each other over some stupid stuff. They know we got Florida man everywhere, Florida man and Florida woman. Yeah. I think I know where plantation's at. I think that's over. Is it North Ocala or South? I think it's North Ocala. I think that's off of 301. Yeah, I just have to make it to 301 and just hitch a ride for 50 miles, and I'll be all right. Buy me a bike. I'll be good. No, no, it's actually I'm not really too concerned about everything except for the flooding. That's it. Because you don't know what's in that water. You don't know what's lurking on out there. That's the only thing I have. Yeah. Yeah, I think I know where that's yeah, I think I know where that's at. Because I think that's just north of Seven Springs, if I'm not mistaken. So why are they saying the worst is storm? Oh yeah, because this area wasn't really built up for storms like that. And that's and the reality is there's a lot of it's an older population and um the structures here are very bad. It's very bad structures. So on top of that, if you also have a lot of things being over inundated with water, that actually messes with the water table. So then you can actually have sinkholes form too. Yes, you can. So you have a sinkhole form, then guess what? Everything gets sucked under into that water line, that water table. Yeah, no, it can get real bad because technically we're a peninsula, but we're also a peninsula that has like a lot of aquifers and things of that nature. So it's very porous. So depending on how the water levels go, and how things push up, yeah, structures could literally wash away. And a lot of inland structures that people think is good because there's tons of lakes, tons of ponds. If they get over inundated, yeah, they can cause things to sink. So yeah, you don't have actually sinkhole insurance, but but they try to label it under flood. But yeah, no, there's a lot of sinkholes, a lot of sinkholes. So roads will get washed on out, bridges. Yeah, the power of water is crazy, and there's just water all over this place because there's a ton of creeks. So the way that Tampa goes, and even Sarasota, so Sarasota will have the Mayaca River, and the Mayaca River, I think, will actually have some tributaries that feed into the or that go into Lake Okeechobee chain. You also have the Manatee, excuse me, the sits north, and then that's a bigger system, river system. So there's a lot of things that go over, and if the Manatee floods, that's basically Bradenton and South Hillsborough that will flood. That will flood. So there's a lot of things that just because it says the coast, no, there's a lot of flooding that definitely goes on with that because that area actually is very, very flat. So once you kind of get south of Hillsborough, you're in a lot of flat land. It's very flat land. Once you pass Hillsborough or Polk and you're getting to those counties that touch Lake Okeechobee, those are very, very flat lands. And that's kind of towards like your Everglades and things of that nature. So, so yeah, that's the most dangerous thing, especially when you have a very low-lying area. My area has a little bit of hills, but you don't really have that in a lot of southern Florida. So you have some hills in Orlando that kind of protects things in some of those areas, like Claremont, Winter Park, Lake Dora, like a lot of those communities out there. Oh, really? They just told all Americans to flee Russia immediately. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, Susan, Gibney, I would not doubt it because I told you, I think that's worse. That's like worse than any like sinking of ship or like Lusitania. I'm trying to remember our World War One trip. I think they really won't be able to get any oil from Africa because Africa has China, and now Africa has more of a posture, even though they don't have a great military posture. They still have an over. It'll be an over response. Remember, the people there in Africa are doing more than their actual governments. That's the whole issue. Remember that with Mali and Central African Republic, all those countries that were basically kicking out um, the the old colonial powers, which was basically French or France. So if you're France, now you have to be able to come home and do what? Probably help provide law and order. Because why? Because um, you're having to deal with a population that is going to be on edge. And this population is probably pretty much on edge, especially if you may not have enough for any reserves and any lifeline that you may have had is cut off. So, and yeah, you're right, daughter. They are garbage dumps. She absolutely correct. They are literally garbage dumps. So, very interesting. So, oh, yeah, so that's where I have right now. Um, yeah, and it's going to start to kind of pick up and intensify and keep moving from here. So if I can, I'll just continue to keep you all updated. I think really once I start losing power, that's going to be kind of the moment where it's like, all right, well, here it is. But so they're already trying to call it catastrophic. And in reality, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. But I'm about to get up off of here and take a look at the news and see how things are going. So, yep, this is going to be definitely an interesting day to say the least. So, yeah, but definitely thank you for all the prayers and so I'm not panicking. I know the Most High's got me. So all I'm gonna do though is just try to get my behind the Busch Gardens and Adventure Island and get me an inner tube like the rest of the hood. You know how black folks will be. Look, we will get some inner tubes and plywood, and we will have a floating city. Here, let me get that plywood. Let me get that hope, that rope, that drill. Put a put some of those blow up mattresses on there. Shoot, we'd be good. We know how to survive. We'll be all right. Who's got some fishing poles? Who got the net? You know that. All those unclean animals, guess what? We will pray for them and say, "Thank you, Father, for us to survive." That's it. Yeah, and you're right. The Most High will provide food. He'll provide something for us. We'll be looking like Water World now. Oh man. So yeah, family. Let me get off. Let me get off of this thing here and get this day moving. What a day! What a day! Hallelujah. So with that said, family, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom, peace and blessings, Israel.